Have you ever felt that your life is different, that you are destined for a sacred mission, far beyond the common paths that ordinary people follow? Perhaps in your heart there is always a deep calling, a belief that every difficulty, every challenge you experience is not by chance, but is the very hand of God shaping your being, preparing you to step into a new chapter full of meaning. Throughout your life, even when you sometimes feel lost in the crowd or feel stuck in your steps, unexpected signs keep appearing, like delicate puzzle pieces in the destiny portrait that He has painstakingly painted. Let us explore together the 7 powerful signs that show you are indeed the one chosen by God, because, as in the Holy Scriptures, from Abraham, Moses, David to Paul, all have been chosen by God for a higher purpose. These signs are not only invisible messages, but also testimonies throughout history, through the stories of the trials and victories of people when they listen to the call of the Almighty. In modern life, when material values seem to dominate minds, many people feel a void, a longing to rise above merely existing, just getting by day to day. Have you ever wondered why you always feel dissatisfied with material achievements, even though you have reached what society deems success? That is the very first sign that you are chosen, the desire to transcend ordinary life, the longing to carry the light of faith and a sacred purpose. When we read in Jeremiah 1:5, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart," we understand that each person's mission was predetermined even before their first breath. You did not come into this world to pursue temporary satisfaction, but to become an instrument of God, conveying His values to humanity. The lives of those chosen by God often do not pass by smoothly. On the contrary, they have to face countless challenges, obstacles, and intense inner battles. Look at the life of Joseph, who once dreamed of greatness but was rejected by his own relatives, sold into slavery, and falsely imprisoned. It seemed as if everything was collapsing around him. But that was only the process of being refined so that he would be ready for a high leadership position later. The obstacles you encounter, whether betrayals, failures, or unimaginable losses, are also the signs that you are being redeemed and directed toward a noble mission. Those hardships are not the deaths of dreams, but lessons, a trial by fire to temper your being, preparing you for the wonders that God has arranged. On the journey to find the meaning of life, you may have once felt that you do not belong to this world, a world where everything revolves only around money, fame, and convenience. You may have experienced fierce spiritual battles where the darkness of the world continuously threatens to snatch away the light of faith. At such times, remember that it is precisely when you stand firm amidst the storm that God is using every difficulty to create a stronger and more resilient version of you. As the Lord says, "You are not called to live an ordinary life, but to make a difference, to become the light in the darkness of the world." That also means when you realize that you are going through spiritual battles, it is clear evidence that you have been, are, and will be used by God for a sacred purpose. Perhaps you have experienced moments when you felt paralyzed, pushed into unfair battles, when everything seemed to be against you. The betrayal of loved ones, failure at work, unexpected losses. But remember that, as in the story of Job, the wealthy man who lost all his possessions, family, and health, but was eventually restored by God, receiving double of what was lost. It is precisely those trials that are the signs that you are on the path to completeness and victory. Every wound, every pain you endure is not a punishment, but a reminder that within you there is an inner strength, a mission that transcends the limits of ordinary man. Moreover, when you realize that your decisions are not solely based on personal interests, but always oriented towards helping and sharing with those around you, that is one of the signs that you carry within you the soul of one chosen by God. Like Nehemiah, who could not drown in the comfort of a luxurious life when he learned that the city of Jerusalem was being devastated, but left everything to rebuild the walls. You too feel the responsibility when you see the pain, injustice, and suffering of others. The intense empathy, the sensitivity to the pain of others, is not only a characteristic of a kind-hearted person, but also a clear mark that you are inspired by a sacred force. This not only affirms that you are not someone who pursues life merely for self-satisfaction, but also is evidence that you are called to become a beacon, the voice of compassion in a world that sometimes becomes cold and indifferent. In addition, another important sign that shows you are chosen by God is those miraculous moments. Those times when everything seems to reach an impasse, but suddenly a way is opened. There are times in your life when you think there is no way out, no hope, but then a miracle appears. It could be an unexpected opportunity, timely financial resources, or a sincere encouragement from someone you did not expect. And all those things are not coincidences, but are the signs of divine protection. Looking back at the life of Elijah in 1 Kings 17, during a time when the country was undergoing famine, when water and food were scarce, but God arranged for ravens to bring him food, or the poor woman's household in the village continuously receiving oil and flour, all are evidence of the power of miraculous provision that only the chosen one can experience. When you sense those miraculous provisions, remember that it is the affirmation that your faith is not merely a fleeting belief, but part of the grand plan that God has arranged for your life. Another aspect that cannot be overlooked is the separation from unsuitable relationships and environments. You may wonder why, in the process of growing up, some relationships gradually fade away, while those who once stood by you slowly drift apart. This is not a punishment or a tragic ending, but the way God protects and guides you. Like Moses, who grew up in Pharaoh's palace but was later pulled out of that luxurious life to prepare for the mission of liberating the Israelites, you too will experience moments of having to give up familiar things, old relationships, in order to head towards a new path, a path that God has laid out for you. Every separation, every rejection, however painful, carries the message that you are getting closer to the destiny that He has predetermined for you. A destiny that is never based on the temporary satisfaction of the world, but on the enduring nature of faith and love. When you look back on your own journey, you may see that every step, no matter how difficult, has brought you valuable lessons. I personally have also experienced moments when it seemed that everything was against me. But over time, each challenge became a stepping stone for me to grow and become more resilient. There were times when, facing consecutive failures, I thought that perhaps I was not capable, not loved by the world. But then, through moments of quiet prayer, I realized that those dark moments were when my faith was being tested, when God was teaching me how to rise, how to see everything in the light of faith and hope. That changed my entire life, making me realize that instead of avoiding difficulties, we should embrace them as companions on the chosen path by the Almighty. Now, as you have listened to these shares, ask yourself, am I living true to the mission I have been chosen for? Do I have enough courage to stand up and pursue the path that God has diligently prepared for me? Do not let doubts dim the light of faith, because every time you feel pain, every time you go through failure or experience betrayal, that is precisely when His sacred call echoes in your heart, reminding you that you are not alone on this journey. Turn those hardships into motivation to move forward, so that every wound becomes a milestone of victory, and every tear becomes evidence of the strength of faith. If you believe that you are chosen by God for a special mission, let that become a commitment for yourself, as a declaration that I believe that God has chosen me for something miraculous. That is not just empty words, but a declaration that will change your life, a reminder that every day you wake up is meaningful beyond the expectations of ordinary people. Let your soul open up, embrace the light of faith and the protection of God, because when you walk in your mission, every challenge will become a stepping stone for even greater things. Remember that, even if the road is rugged, even if fierce storms attack you, the light of God always shines, protecting and guiding you every step of the way. Just like the story of David, who was called a man after God's own heart, despite having made mistakes and experienced downfalls, but ultimately always returned to faith, so that He forgave him and used him for great victories. You too will be forgiven, rebuilt, and become stronger after each stumble. Please subscribe to the channel, share your story, and leave a comment. I believe that God has chosen me for something miraculous, as a declaration for your own life. Turn every challenge into an opportunity to demonstrate your faith, and never forget that, with every step you take, no matter how rugged, there is an Almighty always by your side. Let your faith spread. Let the light of God shine and live a full life, a life destined by the protection and boundless love of Him. If you are feeling tired, if you are wondering whether you are truly the chosen one, then remember that every moment of trial is a sign of the divine presence in your life. Never think that the scars on your heart are something to be ashamed of, but see them as badges that show you have lived, fought, and overcome the storms of life. Those chosen by God are never given an easy path, but they are always granted strength, courage, and unconditional love from the Almighty. Therefore, whenever you feel weak or alone, remember that you always have an infinite source of strength flowing in your veins, the sacred energy from God, who always guides and protects you. You might ask yourself, if I am chosen by God, then why must I endure so much hardship? The answer lies in the very meaning of the trial. Trials are not meant to make you collapse, but to awaken your inner strength, to help you realize that your faith is not just empty promises, but part of a grand plan. Look back at your journey, from moments of failure to unexpected moments of happiness, and you will see that everything has its reason. Every failure, every tear, every moment of confusion is a sign that you are being built, that you are being taught to become a better version of yourself. And when you have realized that you are chosen by God, do not hesitate to express that faith to the world. Tell your story. Inspire those who are lost, so that they too realize that they are never alone on this journey. Live with the firm belief that, no matter how the storms come, no matter if everything around you may waver, there is an invisible power always with you, guiding you to the sacred destiny of your life. Every step you take, no matter how small or tentative, is immensely significant, because it is part of the grand story that God has written before you were born. In conclusion, remember that you are never an ordinary person when you carry within you the mark of divine choice. You are a special individual, destined to make a difference, to change the world in ways that only those favored by God can. Let every challenge become an inspiration, every failure a precious lesson, and every pain a stepping stone for growth. Live with the belief that, no matter how rugged the road, the Almighty always guides and protects you. Let your faith be affirmed through every action, every word, and every step. And finally, always remember that when you walk the path that God has laid out, not only will your life become more meaningful, but you will also become an inspiration, a beacon of light for those seeking their own way. Act today. Trust in your mission. Affirm that faith and share this message with those around you. Because only when each of us dares to step out of our comfort zones, dares to face challenges, and dares to live fully with faith, will the world become a better place. Let the declaration, "I believe that God has chosen me for something miraculous," not be just characters on a screen, but a living belief infused into every action, every thought, and every relationship of yours. For it is in those moments that you will see that your life is never meaningless. It is a journey full of inspiration, full of challenges, but also overflowing with the wonders of God. And when you realize that, you will never hesitate again, because the path of glory and meaning has opened before you, waiting for you to step in and create greatness for your own life, as well as for the world. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please support us by liking, sharing, and inviting everyone to join our community by subscribing to the channel. See you in the next video. Thank you.